Hi, this is Colby Peters. I thought I'd give you a tour of my front yard because my husband Bill and I have done some cool things that you might enjoy seeing. Right now, I'm standing in the front yard of our neighbor across the street, so you can see most of our house and front yard all at once. I don't think they're home, so I don't have to worry about them wondering what their strange neighbors are up to. But let's head over here so I can show you the seating area we made this past summer. We use large river rocks that we got in bulk from our local recycling center. Technically, you should really have some kind of truck with an open bed, so they can use their front loader to pour the rocks or whatever you want into the bed. But we don't have one of those. So instead, we brought a bunch of large heavy-duty buckets, set them up in a row, and then the front loader poured the rocks into the buckets. You can't load this stuff yourself because of liability reasons. I think Bill and I probably paid for like 50 bucketfuls of rocks before they were finally like, okay, you seriously have to stop now and get a truck with an open bed like everybody else. I'm showing you the edge up close because that's what I would be interested in. We used an edger to kind of sketch out the kidney bean shape and then a shovel to dig the shape out about 3 inches deep. We put bricks under each of the legs of the chairs and love seat so they wouldn't sink into the ground. We also put weed barrier down. Then we arranged the furniture the way we wanted and filled the hole in with rocks. Bill and I hung mason jars with lights in this tree and 2 others in the front yard. I ordered mason jar lids that have a little solar panel and a light sensor on top and a string of lights attached to the bottom, so during the day the lids collect the sunlight and they light up when it gets dark. The branches we used were kind of high, so the way we got the wire over the branch is we attached one end to a meat tenderizer tool, the thing you use to pound cuts of meat to flatten them or whatever, and then Bill bravely flung the meat tenderizer until it made it over the branch. It took a while to do this. I think it's the first time I've ever actually used a meat tenderizer. Well, I guess technically I didn't use it, Bill used it. But then once the meat tenderizer made it over the branch, we just got on a tall ladder and attached the lids to the wire. Here's a picture of what they look like at night. They look really pretty. Okay, so next I'm going to show you our little library, which is by far my favorite thing in our front yard. If you're not familiar, little libraries are small structures where you can take a book or leave a book. They are all over the place. If you want to find one near you or put one up in your community, visit littlefreelibrary.org. The library came with its own knobs, but we just had to replace them because they were worn out. I painted these knobs at one of those places where you can paint pottery and they fire it for you. I originally made like 20 of these, all with different sea creatures for the cabinetry in a bathroom, but I have since moved out of that house. I definitely was not leaving those knobs behind though. Since we're here, I'm just going to make sure it's organized. So I see that somebody put an advertisement in here, which is a grave sin against the little library. I'm also going to take out this fun little pamphlet about taming your defiant child. And I'm not saying it's not important to learn about toxic parents, but this is a very old book, and self-help books like this tend to not hold up very well. I also have to keep an eye out for religious and political pamphlets. It's not really the purpose of the little library. Retail sales experts will tell you that it's important to move merchandise around periodically because it helps sales. I don't know why that is. People will use this thing more if I reorganize the books, which I'm fine with because I like organizing things. Okay, this is looking pretty good. I had to stop the video for a minute because somebody came by walking a puppy, and I'm sorry, but that takes precedence over an uninterrupted front yard tour. We painted our front door a bright orangey red, like a persimmon, and it was Bill's idea to paint the inside of our carport to match. I think it looks really good. A lot of people slow down to look at and take pictures of the koi fish I painted on the front of the house. Believe it or not, we actually got one piece of hate mail because of the fish. Somebody left a typed, unsigned letter taped to our mailbox that said something about our bad taste and bringing housing prices down in the neighborhood. We got some intel that it was a neighbor close to us who had their house on the market at the time. I was pretty crushed, but we only got one mean letter and lots of people have told us how much they like it. So I think most of our neighbors think it's additive. I used a little bit of gold metallic paint to do their scales and add some highlights. I just want to take a moment to show you our front door. I love our front door. It's so 50s with the square and circular carvings. The first thing I painted on the front of the house was the front door, and it really made it stand out. People love it. After I did it, a few neighbors actually knocked on our door to tell us how much they liked it, which was really sweet. I painted these square tiles with our house number and koi fish on them. There's a fish for each person in the house, me, Bill, and our 3 kids. Our handyman drilled holes in the tile and mounted them for us. I'll just show you some close-ups on the rest of the fish and the water ripples so you can see better. Before I started sketching or painting on the house, I measured out the space and did a scale mock-up on paper where 1 foot equals 1 inch. I do this for all my murals. It makes it much easier to get a good composition. Way before I did the mural, Bill painted the brick on the house the same color as the siding because we felt like there were too many different materials and colors going on. We had siding, brick, and stone. I think painting the brick the same color as the siding improved things a lot. I hope you enjoyed the front yard tour. Thanks for watching. Feel free to ask questions or leave feedback. I'm also planning a tour of the art I've done on the inside of our house, so please subscribe if you'd like to know when I finish that.